Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to today's IEEE-USA webinar, The Art of Strategic Influence, Elevate Your Career with Confidence. I'm your host, Jonathan Cho. Today's webinar is in partnership with IEEE Women in Engineering. Our presenters for today are Drs. Jessica Bien and Dr. Karen Panetta. Dr. Bien is a visionary leader and architect. She's spearheaded the electric power industry's reliability metrics and grid risk assessment. She's currently the Chief Technology Officer at RAS Fusion. Before that, she was with GridX Partners and the Federal Energy Regulatory Commission, or FERC, in Washington, D.C. Previously, she was a Director of Performance Analysis at North American Electric Reliability Corporation, or NERC, in Atlanta, Georgia. Under her leadership, a total of 18 industry-wide reliability indicators were established to determine grid reliability, adequacy, and associated risks. She's widely recognized as a pioneer and trusted world leader in the field. She's a fellow of IEEE and a member of the U.S. National Academy of Engineering. She serves as the 2024-2025 chair of IEEE Industry Engagement Committee. She was the 2022 to 2023 president of the IEEE Power and Energy Society, or PES. Dr. Panetta currently serves as the Dean of Graduate Engineering Education and a professor with the Department of Electrical and Computer Engineering at Tufts University in Medford, Massachusetts. She's a director of the Panetta Vision and Sensing System Laboratory, as well as the editor-in-chief of the award-winning IEEE Women in Engineering magazine and co-author of the book, Count Girls In. Dr. Panetta is the CEO and co-founder of Tessara Intelligence Incorporated and co-inventor of the first digital twin. She's received numerous awards and served in positions including the Vice President of the IEEE Systems Man and Cybernetics Society, 2019 President of the IEEE Eta Kappa Nu Honor Society, 2021 to 2022 IEEE Awards Board Chair, past IEEE-USA Vice President of the Communications and Public Affairs. She's a fellow of NIA, IEEE, AAIA, NASA Jove, and AAAS, and is a member of the National Academy of Engineering. Her passion is utilizing her engineering knowledge for the benefit of humanity. Dr. Panetta has advised world leaders and led humanitarian projects around the globe to change lives, help communities thrive, and to protect the environment. Without further ado, I will now pass it to our guests. Welcome, Dr. Bien, Dr. Panetta. We're very excited for what you have in store for our audience today.
Thank you. And it's my pleasure to be here with my esteemed colleague, Dr. Bien. So thank you for having me.
Thank you here. Thank you, Karen and Jonathan, for this wonderful webinar. And this topic is very close to my heart. As is Karen, you know this.
Absolutely. So Jessica, why don't you take us in, start the conversation, and we can talk about all the great things that we know that can help people advance their careers, but also strengthen them to be mentors and role models to pay it forward to other young people.
Yes, let me get to the next slide. So this is actually the daily kind of issue, the problem or challenge, because if I have great ideas, I want to speak up and work hard. I want to get noticed by my management, by my peers, right? And sometimes, a lot of times actually, I feel disappointed, frustrated because my hard work would not get noticed, or my ideas would not be valued, and sometimes they're just being discarded. So how do I have all these energy? I want to help people, and all these being valued, and so I can contribute and be recognized. So this topic is just around that particular daily issues that we're facing. And it's called Art of Strategic Influence. And right. Art is a skill. We all can learn that. So it's not something that it comes naturally. And so if we keep working on that, and it will become a part of our daily habit, and you get to it. I think this is what Karen and I can share with you, and how the practice that we're doing and intentionally, and to keep minimize. We are engineers, right? We wanted to use least amount of time and at least amount of resources to achieve the best results. That's what we call the strategic influence. Right, so it's art. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to say that, how many times you mentioned that we work hard. people have expectations that just because you work hard, you're automatically going to be, you work hard and people are going to automatically recognize you. You're automatically get promoted. And, with the disappointment and frustration, one of the first tools we need everybody to learn is we're engineers. Failure is part of the recipe, right? And you got to be resilient, and we've got to pick ourselves up and start over. So today I'm hoping that maybe we can give them some strategies to make them understand that this is not a linear path. It's got a lot of discontinuities in it, but the name of the game is to keep going and to learn and become resilient along the way.
Well said. Yep. So, so Karen and I kind of, again, it's art, right? We use this, and we kind of summarize our practice to say what worked in the past. For last, I volunteer for IEEE for more than 30 years. Probably Karen saying, yeah, long. Okay. So these are the three things we came up, like connect, right, and align and amplifier. So do you like to add anything here before I move?
Sure. So connection, we're going to talk about lots of ways to connect, but I think that one of the people don't understand is connections go both ways. So we're talking about bi-directional. It can't be all about you, because people don't, we like to be role models and mentors, but it's got to go both ways. So, I think later on in the slides, Jessica is going to talk about, connect early and often, but just don't contact us when you need something. So
exactly.
So let's go ahead and talk about the next slide.
All right. So I like science. I guess I'm an engineer, right? It's a science nerd. So I always go for the science definition. So what's the definition? We all talk about the connecting and engagement. Actually, connection is defined, okay, from a doctor, Brene Brown actually defined, she's a research scientist in this field. She defined the connection is energy flow. Like Karen said, it's a two-way flow. And it exists between people, not just one way. Okay, when people feel seen, heard, and valued. Okay, so if we just talk and then give the people on the other end and make them seen, heard, and valued, that's not a connection. That's just one conversation, just simple conversation. That's not a connection. Connection is energy flow, okay, from scientific point of view. And also when they can give and receive without judgment. And so it's free, right? There's no it's just opinion, just a conversation exchange, and they feel the energy flow. They feel empowered. That's what we call the connection. And here she goes on, says when they derive a substance and strength from the relationship. So it's clearly defined. It's energy flow in both ways, and plus when it gives energy, gives a strength to both sides. And again, this is from the human point of view. We are social and emotional beings, and connection is essential nutrient and to our health, to our brain, and to our physical health.
And a lot of people think that connection means that I'm going in with a mission to meet Jessica. I mean, there might be cases like that where you see somebody somewhere and you say, I want to connect with this person at this conference because their research aligns with mine. But I also find that through IEEE, most of the connections we make are more through our volunteering activities. And a lot of people don't even know my research area. I was like, they found out after knowing me for years, oh, you do artificial intelligence. But they got to connect with me as a human being. And, just like Jessica was talking about, and they get to know me as me. So it's not like the connection is, I'm only want to meet you so that I can, get something from you or give something back. It's really about investing in the human capital of understanding and trying to just get to know people for who they are. And that's how you can make them feel valued, because you'll know what's important to them.
Yep. And so specifically, just like Karen said, how do we do it? Get to know them, their needs, and what's their research field, right? And I have an example how Karen and I work together on this, and empower them and empower their future with your support. You have AI knowledge, you have a project management skill, you have publishing, you have lots of volunteer experience, and when you do that, you ask yourself, did I make them feel seen, heard, and valued? It's pretty simple. That's a formula. Did I make them feel, did I give them the energy, the connection energy, make them feel seen, heard, and valued? And like Karen said, help others. Don't expect immediate return. And that's not what you actually, but that the way you do it actually helps and grow and maintain your health and from your brain and from physical body. And because if you read the science, and they will tell you helping people and keeps your immune system high, keeps you happy. And this is how you, that's your return. Okay. Not like you get another title, another position. That's not immediate return. It keeps you a great spirit and keep you a joy because you're helping others. And so I want to give an example. So in 2012, I became the first few members who joined Women in Power affinity group, which is part of the IEEE Power Energy Society, the Women Engineering Group. It's just part of the Women Engineering Group. So they actually helped me to meet many other members along the way and to build the connections. We help each other. Again, it's energy flow. We build the connections. So I volunteered to organize women in power events and group membership. And 3 years later, the group recommended me to be a candidate to run for one of the board positions. It's called secretary of the society. It's a society a secretary position, and that was in 2015. So the same year, Karen actually contacted me and says, at the time, Karen was the editor-in-chief of IEEE Women Engineering magazine. So she contacted me. She said, well, the magazine would like to write an article to highlight your career. And the section is called Women to Watch. So I want to thank Karen for your wisdom. See me through at the time already. That was 10 years ago.
And I put that out there to everybody because I still am the WIE Women in Engineering magazine editor-in-chief. And we love to tell stories. So a lot of times people will meet and like when I contact them, they're like, you want to write about me? What do I know? And I think that that's something that's important is everybody has a different perspective and nobody comes from the same exact place. And that's how we help mentor each other is by hearing the different career paths. And we always ask in every one of those interviews, what was the greatest challenge? What was the greatest reward? But right up here, I also see, she mentioned, Dr. Bien mentioned joining WIE. Women in engineering is not just for women. It's for everyone. The way we say it is it's for women and anybody who knows a woman. And I think that support network, it brings you access not just to resources, but people around the world. And one of the things that I'm also doing recently that is a great example is I'm on President Kathleen Kramer's ad hoc committee for One IEEE, which is looking at education across the whole IEEE. And one of the things that I found, which I was discovering hidden gems in IEEE, we have the YP group, the young professionals, put together a micro volunteering site, which allows you to go in and say, you know what, I don't know how to volunteer. I don't know where I'd fit in, but here's some opportunities for you to engage. And it's a great way, if you don't know where to begin, to start to volunteer and get to meet other people. And we don't throw you right in and let you sink or swim. We actually mentor you. And I think that that's one of the nicest things about IEEE is that we are mentoring you along the way. So we'll talk more about that in the rest of the presentation.
Yes, I put some link here. And so if you have any interest to know these particular affinity groups, like YP, Karen mentioned, and Women Engineering, and society and councils in your technical field, or you want to get to know your local folks, and you can join the IEEE section and chapters. I know Karen is a Boston section chair. So yeah, if you're in that area, please meet Karen, but tell her how you can help, right? This is, again, it's the energy flow both ways. And you want to make the Boston section greater, stronger, right? And help more members like you to grow. So this is how it works out. Again, and check these websites if you're not part of it already. And because IEEE is a great, I call it playground, or a safe place, so you can try different things and find your talent and build your connections.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So next one is align your career, your interest with organization's needs. This could be your local community, your workplace, or your IEEE, any others. I will have Karen to start this one.
Sure. So I have a saying, if you don't write it down, it's a wish. So the first thing you need to figure out is what is, what is it? What are the priorities that you want to get out of your job? Or it might not even be at this company. You might try to figure out, well, where do I want to be in this company? How do I move up? And that's where you need to understand where the pain points are. And one of the things that I like to do is I like to look at good role models of good examples. Bad examples also help you too to know what not to do. So for instance, communication is, we're going to talk a little bit about that, but it's super important that when you research your company, it's very easy to say this is wrong and that's wrong. And when you do that, no one's going to want to say, well, we don't want this person, and they're so negative. What you want to do is always look at everything in today's world, with everything going this way or that way. Always look for the opportunity and say, you know what, with AI coming on board, maybe there's a way for us to streamline operations. I just learned this new tool. Maybe I can use this to help me do more discovery and learn new skills. Are there workshops being offered? Are there courses? Going back to school, some companies actually give you a raise the minute you get a new degree. Are there opportunities to do that? But make sure it aligns with what you want. Don't invest and say, well, I got to get a master's degree or a graduate degree because that's what my company wants. If your heart's not in it, then you need to find another pathway. So that's why I think that when we talk about aligning, is this the right company for me? And how do I see those opportunities with what my goals are? Do I want to learn more about strategy? Do I want to learn more about finance? And that's why I always connect back to IEEE. One of the things Jessica mentioned is, this can be your playground. I like to say IEEE is a playground with somebody else's money, and they let us trust us with the money. That where in your own company, nobody's going to give you a budget without proven success. Well, IEEE is the place where you can try that success.
Yeah, I fully agree. From my personal experience, I actually started I got a certification as a project manager because the company offered that. So whoever wants to help the project, here's the certification. You can sign up for a few weeks and for the course. So I did that. I find out that's the first step. I actually went into the management role. Once I got to know like how do you do the budget, balance the budget, meet deadlines, what are the critical paths to complete the project, how to motivate and move team members towards a common goal. That's your project management skill. That's your leadership skill right there. You kind of have to know everything, right? It's involved, and now I looking back, this is how I got started. So if you wanted to be a multi a skilled person and wanted to think about the leadership aspect, I would recommend go project and management certificate first, because this is where you get to know how its company is run, how they, from the revenue point of view, from HR point of view, from a many aspects of the KPI point of view, how do they set up the goal and all that, and you get to know, and you along the way you build the connections. So that's how I started. And go ahead.
I was going to say, Jessica, one of the things that you're talking about too is, if there's other people in these roles, I like to go talk to them and say, tell me about, I don't understand this thing in the finance. Explain why budgeting is done this way. And you'd be surprised that they're willing to help you and talk to you about it. And it's another way for you to learn those details that maybe the course didn't teach you.
Exactly. And I told actually many folks that I know that the best friends in my company that I worked for several companies are my CFOs, my general counsels, and HR directors. Of course, the close friends are my team members, right? My boss. But the best friends that I think could help the entire team, the career of the companies. I get to know the general counsel, the financial officer, right? The folks that are not in my technical field, and they actually help me to boost everything that I do, because if I want to do a bigger project, I need the money, right? I have to go to the CFO and get so I have to get to know them, and so they can support to give me bigger budget to do bigger things. This is how you grow, and you help the company to achieve bigger things, and also you grow throughout your career. So this is very important, and not just to think about your technical, your closed circle, and you have to go outside, because there's a reason why we need a general counsel in the company, why we need a CFO, because they are trying to protect the institute, right? As a general counsel, they try to make the company healthy, so we have a cash flow. So there's a very important role. So we need to build connections with these folks as well. I have another example. I had a young volunteer when I was as a PS president, and I said, well, we need to have a dashboard, right? Because we need to run IEEE, the PS, just like cooperation, we need to have a KPI so we can maximize our resources. And so this young volunteer says, okay, yeah, I can do it. Give me 2 weeks. I'll study one of the platform which can be built for the dashboard. So he came back. He said, well, it's done. I know it. I can do it. And then a year later, his company actually it was doing a lot of new projects and lots of moving parts. So he said, I talked to managers and, hey, I can help the entire division to build the dashboard so we can track this. And after he built it, he got promoted as a manager. So that was the perfect example is you kind of align and you learn through the volunteer, or like Karen said, you upskill your knowledge and things and you do, then everything is all connected. Once you develop your dashboard knowledge, it can be used for company. Because of that experience, the volunteer experience, he got promoted. So I thought this is a great example for how you align your career with volunteer organizations, any organizations. Again, it's a two-way flow. All right. There are a few specifics. Okay, so how do you align? And you wanted to know who holds the influence. Like I said, my ways, I build connections with my general counsel, with my CFO, and because and HR, because if I want to expand my team, right, the HR people, they're key to help me to. So there are a lot of, so I want to find out who holds influence within the organization, right? And so I can put my strategic influence ideas and talk to them, build a connection. And another one is to how communicate with your leadership and take initiatives. Like the example I had earlier is build a dashboard, this volunteer, and showcase his talent, his knowledge on the dashboard. And then so he got a great return.
This is where I like to say, watch other people, because watch and listen, because when you're in an audience and you hear somebody else present to a team or pitch an idea, and you're like, wow, I hope that someday I can be as influential or communicate that well. No one gets there. It's not an innate type of things. A lot of people think, oh, you like public speaking. It's like, well, no, it takes training, right? Because when you're speaking to an audience, you have to know what's important to them. You also have to know what their level of expertise is and what you're presenting. So when you're presenting something or you want to communicate to someone, you really need to have the whole landscape down. So one of the other things that I think is really important is not just having the skills to do your job, but thinking ahead, a couple of steps ahead. Well, what other kind of things are coming down the pipeline that I should be learning? What emerging topics are coming out? Oh my goodness, we're in power and energy. Where's quantum coming down, right? Is quantum going to be the future? And if you're the first one to take the leap and have that information, you're the first one to show that, hey, I've actually learned a little bit about quantum and how AI is going to merge in the future. And you offer to do some lunchtime talk or even some just lead a discussion. You don't have to be technically flawless. It's more about just showing that you're interested in a topic and that you're willing to get practice to do it. So I think the continuous learning piece is really important.
Yes, exactly. So this year I'm the chair of IEEE Industry Engagement Committee. We have a member, his name is Matt Scott. You know him very well. He's an AI expert. So he actually initiated. So he said, "Oh, he said what? So I can do coding. I can help IEEE to transform all the science-based research papers into plain language industry application papers." He said, "Wow, that's a great idea, right? Because we have 6 million science-based literatures, and if all industry practitioners, professional can read this, right, can help their innovation. How wonderful is that?" So he said, "Oh, let's do it." So that's what I called communicate with leadership and take initiative. So he just did that. He started last year, and this year we're in the process of roll that out, and we're working with a publication team, IEEE publication team, and also technical activity team, try to bring that to every member so that the cooperations and the academic, even professors, they said they can have that kind of AI transform paper, give it to the undergraduate students, junior and senior, so they can read it because it has the problems, issues, and applications, and not only it translates or transform the content in the art in the paper. Actually, it goes out to the entire internet world and find out what are limitation applications, and also attaches standards. What are the applicable standards at the bottom? So I'm very excited. This is the example is that Scott took actually initiative, and IEEE leaders and board actually saw the potential, and also we know that he's going to help IEEE to do more AI type of tools and benefits. So a board actually appointed him as a new chair next year as a 2026 IEEE Industry Engagement Committee chair. How wonderful is that? So to me, this is a great successful strategic influence story. And show your talent and help the community move towards the great future. And this is where you will be noticed and valued, and you'll be get promoted. All right. Building a coalition. Okay, we cannot do it alone, right? Regardless how talented, how wonderful each of us are, and we're just not that powerful. We need a lot of people move big things, and so this is where we need to build the correlation. And when you do that, you want to find out who already has the credibility, right? Who else benefits from the change that you're advocating for, and how can you position your message so others can amplify it. And so that's another strategic thinking or strategy that you need to find out, because and because when you think about it, sometimes we have lots of ideas, and if you have 10 people in this room, and you get probably more than 100 ideas, but which idea gets actually move forward, right? Be valued, and you get support, and you have to build a correlation on that. Karen, would you like to add a few points here?
Sure. So when I talk about building coalitions, I talk about getting as many people on board as possible, whether they're junior people or even staff. People sometimes don't understand how powerful staff are because they have the information across the organization on how some of the logistics work. So sometimes when you propose something, there's a reason why it hasn't been done before, or perhaps there's some bottleneck. But it's interesting that I have found that trying to build a strong coalition doesn't just mean the people above. It means the people, my peers. It also means the up and coming people. Right now I work a lot with young professionals, and I love working with students. And everybody says, "Why do you spend so much time? Is it mentoring them?" And I'm saying, "No, because someday they're going to be my boss." So you've got to think about that. You're building things for the long term and being able to build these coalitions. I also always tell people, make sure that you're trying to put forward positive energy, because if they see you as, divisive, or that you're not really excited about something, and you just want to complain about it, that's not looking at somebody who looks at things, with optimism. So while we know there's lots of challenges, we've got to always look at, okay, we've got some challenges. Complaining about it is a waste of energy. What are we going to do about it? And that's the way to take it on.
Yeah, well said. So I have another example here, as a chair of industry engagement committee last year and this year. So again, industry engagement it's a huge grand challenge for IEEE, right? We all know we have a lots of and members from academia, but industry members has been declining for the last 20 years. So the challenge is, how do we show our value to industry? And the industry engagement committee only had 12 members. So it's a very small committee, and there's only limited resources time that we have, and we can make only a impact which is small. So so what we did as a committee, we said we ought to amplify our voices. So we invited industry coordinators from IEEE 39 societies, 8 councils, and 10 regions. So now our committee has been expanded with each industry coordinator from each regions, and plus every society and councils. So that immediately helped us to amplify our voice, how to engage industry. And the grand challenge, another grand challenge we have is, we know we have 50,000 eligible industry members within IEEE can be elevated to the senior members. And that's a lot of work, right? Think about it, 50,000. So now we're working with these industry coordinators from societies and councils and regions to speed up, accelerate. And that's what I called engagement. That's what I call build a connection, because we recognize, we make them feel seen, heard, and valued. We recognize their contributions to the industry.
Yeah.
And
I was just going to say, if people don't know that what senior member is an elevation, recognizing our members as leaders, and as that have contributed and have significant accomplishments in their career. So it is a member designation, and once you're senior, we hope that you'll join us as a fellow.
That's it. And we cannot do this alone. We need your help. If you are a senior member, please nominate. Along the way, we worked with MGA, and which is another IEEE operating unit. They actually help us to get the messages out. We have a webinar coming up June 18th, and the chair of this particular senior member elevation committee will be leading the discussion and tell why this is so critical for industry members to be senior members, because in order you get not only the technical skill development, getting be part of, and also you can lead, and you can get your ideas, you can become a committee chairs, a lot of leadership role, and needs a senior member. So this is, and like Karen said, and without senior member, you cannot be a fellow. So everything together. And I got a question that says, "Oh, do I pay more for the senior member on the membership?" But no, it's the same. So I just want to know, there's no additional membership fee. We just want to build the connections, strengthen our connection, recognize your contribution to the industry. So that's another way that we build a correlation, try to engage industry, so that we can do more, and not just one voice, one committee effort. All right, so let's go to talk. Okay, so like Karen said, along the way, and we all have lots of ideas, and most of ideas will be rejected, right? Will be left there alone, but don't get discouraged. We all experience that, and because every organization, every project has a focus, has a priority, and so the way I see it, we want to detach from immediate. If the idea was not picked, and that's okay, we move on, and we try to find the spaces you think again, reflect, and see, maybe this is not the place that the idea will be recognized, maybe some other places. And towards the end, I also recommend that change environments. If I feel I constantly hitting the wall, and maybe I need to move on. Within IEEE, I can change to a different
Ladies,
Eh,
everything.
yeah, exactly. Different places, different committees, and within a big organization, you can change to a different groups and departments or divisions. And small companies, you probably want to change another company, or just start your own shop.
Yeah.
Okay.
And yeah. So a couple of things about emotions. I will say it's impossible not to take it personally, right? And you've got to give yourself that moment to say, yes, you're going to go through that, I'm sad, I'm mad, I'm angry. Do that. Like when I get a proposal rejected, I usually make my students read the comments first, and then they warm me up to it. And eventually it's like, okay, now I'm ready. You have to emotionally prepare yourself and understand, because you don't want to act rashly and just fire off something like, retaliatory. So one of the things I usually say is, you can write and say whatever you want, but don't send it. Think about it, just archive it, think about it. And I guarantee you within 24 hours, you'll be like, oh, thank goodness I didn't actually say that. As bad as COVID was, one of my favorite things is the mute button. I think that sometimes I find that just that extra 10 seconds can save me from blurting out and saying something that I know is going to upset other people, because I'm so upset about something, especially when people aren't professional. I think that's the hardest thing to deal with. Is it's not just that they attack something technically, because I love technical debates. I love that. But when there's something that doesn't make logical sense, it's like, how can I even deal with this? So the mute button could be a friend. But in meetings, I usually take notes. And one of the other things I'm going to give you recommendations on is, when you do pitch something, have it written down. I keep an engineering notebook. Most of my things have become patents. At least I can point back to when I contributed something or I sent an email, because you want to make sure that your ideas remain your ideas, and that they might morph along the way, but at least you can say, hey, see where Jessica said you've planted a seed, you can demonstrate that you've planted that seed. And again, I'm a transplant from industry who went to academia, and now I'm doing startup things again. I'm finding that changing environments is really helpful in many ways, because I get different perspectives rather than the same academic culture, and I can bring that to the table. So now when people are used to academic institutions of running things the same way for 100 years, I can say, well, you know what, industry would be really interested in doing it this way. And people are like, really? So being able to bring those different perspectives to the table by integrating yourself in different environments is very valuable.
Yeah, it is. It is. And if you hit the wall and find your a support system and talk to them, right? And again, if the way that I think of it, if another person bring the same idea as I did, probably will be shut down as well. So that's how I see it. Don't take it personally. It's just maybe the idea is good, but it's not at the right time. It's not ripe enough. So there are many reasons, and we just got to move on. So you heard the experience Karen and I had along our careers. And in order to improve the success rate, I always go back to science. I find out by studying science, you can predict the patterns, predict the outcomes. And so you don't have to do a lot of a zigzag, and you kind of know, okay, with this 95% confidence interval, right, if I do this, I will have the outcome I'm expecting. So I would highly recommend to study behavioral science. It has lots and lots of great things, including psychology, neuroscience, study how our brain was developed, and plus history and sociology and economics. This will help you to guide you to know how people react and how your ideas will be valued, how you can build a stronger connection with least amount of time and amount of work to accomplish your goal.
Yep. And I sometimes, try to look at the data, try to use data-driven types of things to say, well, what would make a compelling argument to someone in this field that's looking for these types of things. So if I'm talking to a budget person, they don't want to know how it's going to be sustainable, how I'm going to pay for it. If I'm talking to someone else, they might just want to make sure that the appeal of the final product is, going to garner social media attention. So you've got to look at it from what are the KPIs or the performance indicators based on the people evaluating your work. What's important to them? What are the metrics that they're evaluating you on for your ideas? And that's something you need to keep in mind, because you might have the best data and KPIs for one audience, but if you're pitching to a different audience, that's not what's important to them. So you have to know that up front.
Exactly. When I was at a Federal Energy Regulatory Commission, so we have lots of lawyers, hundreds of lawyers. So as an engineer, I was an engineer, so I have to communicate with them on a daily basis. So just like Karen said, you have to know your audience, and because they play with the words, they don't play with the numbers or equations. So I have to turn my equations into words, into plain language words, so they can put that into regulations and policy making. Because what you want to do, right, you want to commence them, whatever you're doing is great. You want them put into the policies and rulemakings. And so you have to turn that, your equation, your engineering principle, into plain English, so they can write it, and together, then you can accomplish the mission. So a lot of things, like Karen said, we have to look at the situation and look at how the people think and feel and behave in different situations, and use the science to guide you, and to know, and to find out, and to communicate better, to build a stronger connection, so that you can help each other, and with a two-way energy flow. I think I'll stop here. Karen, would you like to add anything before we get to the Q&A?
No, I just think one of the things I want to make sure before we get to the Q&A, that everybody stop and think about what deliberate action, something that's truly doable, that you're going to do for yourself to help elevate yourself. That could be a new connection. That could be visiting and engaging on a micro volunteering site and putting your resume up there and volunteering for something. It could be volunteering for an IEEE committee. It could be sending me your bio and saying, Karen, I want to be featured in the WIE magazine. And one of those actions, or even participating in a IEEE HKN Eta Kappa Nu student leadership type of event. We do lots of webinars talking about just what you do in your daily job, or something, some of your profile, and sharing your experiences. So, and you might say, I might not be worth it, or I might not have anything anybody wants to talk about. I've never met anybody in IEEE that doesn't have a wonderful story to tell. Whether you're a student, young professional, or someone more seasoned, or even someone who's retired. And you notice we are sponsored also by IEEE-USA. One of the things I love about IEEE-USA is that they've taught me how to communicate with policymakers and how to have influence on things going on in our country or in the world, being able to communicate those things. So think about, where would you like to get yourself out of that box and move forward and get some new skills? One small doable thing I want you to take away from today before we get to our Q&A. Okay, let's do it.
Fantastic. Thank you both so much. So folks, we are now at the Q&A portion of the webinar. Please post your questions in the comments and live chat section, and we will load them onto the stream for our guests to answer. So before we go off into questions, I did want to highlight this one comment that we received from our audience member. I love the first point, which says, don't take rejections personally. Rejections may come at various levels of our career, especially for those striving and applying for opportunities which they believe are vital to their growth. Rejections sometimes come even in the most unexpected spaces or people, but in every case, it's important that we assess the reasons why they come and always approach rejections with the aim to learn and be better. I really love that statement. I think it says a lot when someone can face that rejection head on and really bounce back. So really appreciate you sending in that comment. Thank you so much.
And we learn a lot from those, because I always tell people, you remember more about what you learned from a failure than what you learned from a success.
Absolutely. So while we are waiting on our audience members to send in their questions, I did want to just go ahead and get the discussion rolling with some questions of my own. So you both, so I think it's not an exaggeration to say that many women in engineering, specifically, face unique challenges when it comes to being heard or recognized. I'm sure you both have probably faced these kind of obstacles in your career as well at some point. So my question is, so how can influence techniques be adapted to help women navigate these dynamics while staying authentic to their voice? Are there any specific strategies that have proven effective in overcoming these challenges from either of your perspectives? And feel free to chime in if you have an answer. This question is for both of you
Sure.
or either one.
So I always find that if I can write it down, have it documented so that I have an outline in my head of how I want to present it, I want to communicate it, and be able to do that, I find that always puts me in a stronger position, because that way I'm prepared. I think but one of the big things for women is making sure that we're prepared and try to anticipate different scenarios of how this can go, and if I were on the other side, what questions are they going to ask me, to look informed. And I think that sometimes even finding, when we talked about finding your network or your coalition, is to bounce it off them. Like, today I'm going to present this proposal, or I'm going to discuss that I've noticed this problem. Yeah, what do you think about this idea? Do you think, how do you think it'd be, if you had questions, what would you ask me? So I think that that's kind of important. The other thing I also feel is that when we go somewhere, notice I just said, I think, we have to be more definitive in the way we speak, because that's very important, that when we want to exude confidence, it's not, well, maybe, how many times have you heard, maybe I'm off base, or maybe I'm wrong, or maybe I don't understand? Why start with a negative that says, diminish my confidence right here, so that I don't exude that I'm confident in what I'm about to speak about, and say, based on my research, this is what I found. I've discovered this, and here's the data, here's the citations, and based on this data, this might be a viable option to move forward. Much more decisive, and I think that that's important.
Yeah, great. I like to add is that we, authentic to our voice. So it's a great question, Jonathan. To me, is we often get discouraged. So having a support system is critical for our success, for our growth, especially when you talk about the women. So I feel the women engineering. But Karen said anybody can join. It doesn't have to be women or ladies. But having that kind of network and have a connection with the folks in there, with the affinity group chairs locally, or at different society levels and section levels, and it's critical, because you can talk to them, and that's your connection, and you can get help from them, and from that experience, whether it's a success or a failure, you will grow and get to know more, and you have more techniques to face the next challenge. So having a support network is to me, my personal experience is helped me to move along over the last 30 years.
Fantastic. Thank you both. Really great insights. So we'll go into the audience member questions now. Our audience member, Raj, welcome. So Raj asks, do you think reading company annual reports, joining Toastmasters, part-time teaching, volunteer opportunities within companies like United Way help in advancing one's career? Any thoughts?
I was going to say yes, any opportunity to present, but you realize that IEEE offers all these things, right? We have the Humanitarian Technology Board, which gets you doing, community service and around the world, and maybe you can find one that connects right in your own local community. But also teaching. Did you know that every year over 100,000 hours are donated for tutoring from IEEE students all around the world? I mean, that's an opportunity. So teaching as well. I don't read companies' annual reports. I don't know if Jessica does, but that doesn't sound exciting to me. What I do is I sign up to be review papers for conferences and journals, because I get to see the leading edge technology coming out, and that excites me. So, Jessica?
Yeah, sure. So when I see this question, right, when you say advancing one's career. I mean, there are different ways to define your career. Do you think you're on the technical side, or you're a leadership side and management scale? Or when you join Toastmaster, that's kind of your public speaking. You could be a promotional speaker. Maybe I think that the Toastmaster could help. But IEEE, I agree with Karen, can help that too, because we have so many conference panels, webinars like this, right? You can, so it depends how you view what is the career for you. I actually recommend a book, and was written by one of the professors in Stanford University. So it's called Design Your Life. So it says, okay, you list, let's say, 15 things you like to do in your life, and but you don't have time. He recommends that you at least try one thing, the top 3 things for 2 years, and to see if those things are linked to your career, and let's do it. And but if it's not, and you may have to say, okay, I mean, how much time and effort, right, resource I need to spend in my career. And like I said, the recommendation is you list 15 things, and you talk to the people. You have use your connection, say, hey, Karen, being a professor, being a dean at university, what does that feel like? And if that's something you want to do, hey, and try that. Go find a teaching career, and try a couple of years. And that's, if you find out that's not something you want to do, and talk to the other folks. But like I said, we don't have that much time, so you want to talk to those folks. And if you feel after talking, after think about it, after do your research, read all these, and you can read annual reports if you want, but you can look at their product, the social impact, and find out, is this something you want to put your career, your life into it? And if it is, and try 2 years. If you don't like it, and come out and try your next favorite things. And through that, gradually you'll find the things that you like, and also that would actually, along the way, you might find your talent, right? If your talent, your passion, and society needs all put together, and that would be the best. I think if you read the science research, only 1 of the 1,000 people could find that kind of a profession with a talent, passion, and social impact together. That would be the best profession and best career you can.
And I've interviewed over 40 CEOs, and I said, what's the most important characteristic that you're looking for in new hires? And really, it wasn't the technical, it was communication skills. So all those things that Raj listed, if they're building your communication skills, it's going to connect to your career one way or another.
Thank you both for that. I think you both brought really excellent points. I mean, one thing I just kind of want to chime in and add is you'd be surprised how many IEEE members aren't fully aware of the opportunities that they have access to as being an IEEE member. Most members only scratch the surface of what their membership actually comes with, and so you're paying all this money for a membership, but I think it does take a little bit of effort on one's part to find all these opportunities. But once you do, you'd be surprised at just how broad these opportunities are, and how much one can get out of them. So if you're an IEEE member, make sure you look at what your membership comes with, and take advantage of that. So this next question, audience member Robin asks, what makes influence strategic? What influence is not strategic?
Well, I can tell you what's not strategic. Strategic is, I don't want to work with Jessica. I don't see why she's a CTO. How did she get there? It must be sheer luck. That's not strategy. That's a disaster waiting to happen. Strategic is being able to build a trust with someone and an organization so that they can see where you're going to go in the future, and to see what kind of person you are to work with. That's strategy. And every day, you're going to work with all different types of people, and some of them are really going to, Jessica has a note up there, don't waste your energy. I always say, chasing down negative things is going to drain your energy, and eventually it's going to pull you to the dark side. You need to be able to strategically distance yourself from, I will call it the drama, and stay focused, but always be a good resource so that you can hear and show perspectives and really be balanced. So balance is strategic.
Yes, like Karen said, those are the 3 words we said today: connect, align your thing, your career with others' needs, and third one is amplify, build a support system. That's a strategy. If that's not enough, and like I said, you go to the science, you go read the behavioral science, that will tell you the personality you're dealing with. And you probably have very difficult people to work with, right? In your workplace, even in many community environments, you would have that. But how do you deal with that? And those books and those science-based research will help you to guide you through those challenges. So that's a strategy. Again, from this webinar, 3 words: connect and build two-way energy flow. And that's where you build the trust, like Karen said, and then align and amplify.
For sure.
And
You heard it, folks. Make sure.
respect, right? Respect for everybody. I think that's really important. Even if you don't share the same perspectives, respect is really important. People know when you don't respect them, right? So that's something that's really important as well for you to build that trust.
Absolutely. Thank you. And thank you, Robin, for your great question. Our next question, Jason asks, any book suggestions, especially related to study behavioral science?
Yes, there are 2 books that I like a lot. One is on attachment, like how like the brain grows, what are the personality is based on, and what are the 3 type attachment styles that we have. And that's one book. If you search the attachment theory, you'll find the book. There's another one is it's called. Dan Siegel is the author. I forgot the name of the book, but he's very famous in behavioral science and how human brain develops. So search Dan Siegel's book, and you'll find how we interact with folks, and how we can make people work with us, and how we encourage them and make the connection.
Very great. Thank you. Dr. Panetta, any additional suggestions you might have?
I usually go but more by like watching people. I just try to take the best qualities of people that I like and say, this I want to put in my binder of good strategies that I've seen. You're going to see really impressive people. I'm sitting here with Dr. Bian, and I'm like, oh my gosh, look at this resources she's got. And now I've got to go open some more books on behavioral science, because I'm more about I want the on-demand, quick, short burst of information, because I'm probably not going to sit down and read a whole book.
No, I think those are really both great insights, both academic finding resources, but also kind of like putting it into application as well by, I guess, what's the word? Observation as well. I think those are really great strategies. So I know we are approaching the end of the hour. I just wanted to see if you both might have a few more minutes just to get through some last few questions from our audience members. Is that okay with you both?
I do.
Yeah, sure.
Fantastic, thank you. Just a last few questions. Our audience member, Paul, asks, what do you think of having a professional coach to just guide your career and serving as a sounding board?
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of people utilize this. Some of the ones that I use is actually our IEEE member, Lauren Hassan, runs sessions on it's called Developer, where she actually does these professional coaching. And I actually offer it to all my students, my graduate students at my institution, and they swear by it. So I think that if you can get some of those coaching things, absolutely, especially for strategy on where to move next, or someone to look at your CV. I think that's really important, just to even get a perspective on, here's, this really dates you on your CV, or this doesn't show your passion for volunteering, and you haven't connected things. I think it really helps to get that.
Yes, and just kind of going off of that, just because IEEE-USA has worked with many professional coaches as well, and I think one of the biggest, most common pieces of advice that these coaches give is that there is no one size fits all for a coach. Sometimes you may have to go through multiple coaches to find the right one. So never be deterred if the first one doesn't work out for you. I mean, I think that applies to any sort of coach, whether it be like
Mhm,
professional, career focused, or fitness, or any sort. So I think
mhm.
definitely branching out there is important. Thank you.
And our
Uh,
conferences, I just want to mention. So, for instance, we'll be having the Life Members Conference in Massachusetts coming up soon. These are people that are there. They have mentoring sessions. So you might not have to pay for a coach. You could just attend one of these sessions. And we do it also in the section, our Boston section as well. So if there's opportunities for you to participate, I like to do things in the low cost, no cost model. So I would try those first before I spend my money.
Yeah, coach is always good. The hard part is your work, right? It's like
mm,
the right your personal trainer. You do the exercise, but the hard part is you have to do the exercise every day, so that become part of you,
That's
and it
right.
comes naturally. So that would put it in use, and you can spend lots of money hire a coach. If you don't practice it, it doesn't help.
exactly. You can't just take the advice and not actually
That's right.
take the advice or apply the advice, excuse me. So this next our audience member, David, has said, I'd known and worked with Jessica as an IEEE volunteer for many years. One of the most compelling ways she makes connections is saying thank you. Can there be too many thank yous? Any thoughts on that?
I think as long as you're authentic, I think it's fine. I mean, I'm always amazed at how much people do for me or why, things like that. I thank my students. I thank everybody. But as long as it's authentic and you're not just coming across as fake, I think it's fine. And I know you too, David, and it's great to see you.
Yeah, David is always teasing me. Sometimes I use thank you. I capitalize the you, YOU. I feel really appreciate the effort that Dave has been helping us. He has created and became our editor in chief for first IEEE industry newsletter this year.
Wow, that's
And
a
the
lot of work.
second is coming out. It's a lot of work. Yeah, we tried last year. We
Yeah,
failed.
you deserve that in all capital letters and bolded, David.
There we go. So to answer your question is, yeah, sometimes you feel a lot, but if we make it more specific, right? I know you're editor in chief. I want to thank you for putting all the efforts together and work with each author and bring the best of the industry a connection to IEEE. So be more specific. So for that, I don't think there's enough. So the more specific, the better. That's how I see it. Great question, David.
Fantastic, thank you. And so we're going to close it off with this one final question I just wanted to ask. So we've gone over a little bit about mentorship earlier. Mentorship's a powerful tool for building both influence and confidence. So my question, how can women in engineering use mentorship both as mentors and mentees to expand their influence and impact? Is there any advice you would give to someone looking to build a strong mentoring relationship?
Yeah. So one of my favorite programs in IEEE is called the Volt program, and that's a volunteer orientation leadership training. And in that program, they actually pair me with mentees, and I feel that I remember I mentioned at the beginning that I really like to connect with young people. I've watched so many young people grow, and like Jessica was saying, women to watch. I love watching that blossom of watching somebody's career just thrive. So being able to start as a volunteer, and you will always not just be thrown in, to something by yourself. You will naturally assimilate to different people that you connect with in that volunteer group. So even if it's a small volunteering opportunity, or even if it's the Volt training, I recommend that you do that. And we influence each other. I learn just as much from them as they do from me. And I'll use HKN, Ada Kappa Nu again. The student leaders that I've met at the conference, my gosh, they've stayed lifelong friends. So I can't, I think mentorship is the most powerful connection you can make.
Absolutely. To me, the young professionals and women, and when they started their career, and not only we are friends, we mentor, mentee, and sometimes we're rivals. And because there are a lot of things that we can work together. I'll give you an example. So a couple of years ago, one student member, the IEEE student member says, well, the students' number one needs is find paid internship. Why IEEE could not, facilitate, right, and give us the internship? So yeah, I kind of remember that. So it's such a great suggestion. So so now our industry engagement committee is trying to just said, okay, how do we meet students' number one needs? We also know the industry, particular sectors like my sector, right, renewable energy, power energy, and aerospace, AI, semiconductor. We have lots of workforce shortage issues. Can we meet industry workforce shortage needs and also meet student internship needs? So we're working together, try to start a pilot virtual paid internship and job fairs and this year. So you hear more on that. And so to me, that's both ways, right? So we also, they know what they need. So how we can best to help they grow and help meet their needs.
Right.
So yeah, lots of both ways.
I was going to also say that the first person that I'll hire or that I'll recommend is someone that I've met through IEEE, a student, versus that blanket spam email just asking me for help. So if I've met them, I've interacted with them at an IEEE student leadership conference or some other volunteer activity, they go right to the top of the list for my help or for me to connect them. When I see a job opportunity that pops up, I say, hey, I remember you said you were interested in this, and I will forward it off to them. So that connection's there. Utilize it.
Yep. Before we go, Jonathan, I just find the book title from Dr. Dan Siegel, and the book I read is very, very good. It's called The Developing Mind. That's book title. So I just try to answer the question that from previous question. It's called The Developing Mind by Dr. Daniel Siegel. Great book. Highly recommend it.
All right, folks, you heard her. Make sure to go check it out. You can easily find it on Google, as I have just done so. But all right, everyone, unfortunately, we are out of time. Dr. Panetta, Dr. Bien, thank you both so much for joining us today and for sharing your insights. Your perspectives as pioneers in this industry is exactly what we need this time. And we appreciate having you both with us. You've both been so wonderful.
Thank you.
Thank you. It's my pleasure.
Absolutely loved having you. And thank you to our audience for tuning in and for your great questions as well. And to our partners for the partner for this webinar, IEEE Women in Engineering. One final thing, a few announcements before we close things off today. First, IEEE-USA is still receiving nominations for the 2025 IEEE-USA Awards. Every year, the IEEE-USA Awards are given to recognize professionalism, technical achievement, and literary contributions to public awareness and understanding of the engineering profession in the United States. You can find details on each award, eligibility, and the nomination process on our website. The link has been provided in the comment section below. Next up, IEEE-USA is now accepting nominations for its 2026 Board of Directors. This is your opportunity to help shape the future of IEEE-USA and make a lasting impact on the engineering profession. We invite dedicated members to step forward or nominate qualified candidates for leadership roles. The nomination deadline is August 20th. Finally, cabins are filling up quickly for IEEE-USA's cruise to the Western Caribbean this fall, with most of the suite level cabins almost sold out. For those who have joined us on our previous 2 cruises, you already know the incredible experiences and connections this event offers. For first timers, this is your chance to create unforgettable memories, enjoy great company, and embark on a journey packed with excitement. Don't miss out. Secure a cabin today and join us for an adventure you won't forget. If you enjoyed the content presented in today's webinar, be sure to check out our extensive catalog of other presentations and publications available on demand on our website for your viewing pleasure. If you haven't yet, please be sure to like and subscribe to our social media channels. And don't forget to check back daily for updates on upcoming events. Have a great day, everyone.
私は橋本貴子と言います。In my research, we are developing social media analytics algorithms. Using our technology, we can make our society better. Thanks to IEEE, I have a good network all over the world, and I became a global leader. I believe IEEE will give many opportunities for your career development. IEEE is my competitive edge.